All right, just a quick little video show the gantry crane in case anybody wants to build one. Give you a couple ideas. There it is. I started about 4 years ago and I got the legs done. I never finished it, but now I'm working on my pickup truck in the background there. You can see, and I got to be able to pick the cab up and the bed up and not scratch it. So I kind of decided to finish it off. It wasn't too bad. Basically, kind of like a swing set. Triangular arms on the side. Kind of overbuilt it. This is 3/16 tube. Probably get away with eighth. Just got two plates, one on either side. This is eighth wall plate, so it just goes up through there with two bolts. And then you got this adjustable tube in the middle. I just drilled a bunch of holes in it, spaced them. I think these pins are a foot apart, so I spaced those a foot apart so you can just lift that arm up in the middle and raise it up. I got it down at the lowest setting right now so I can get it out of my garage. What I did here is I just put a washer in here on all the bolts, so it just separated these plates by 1/8 so that this tube actually can not have as much friction on it when you lift it up. And then I just went ahead. This is kind of the main part of what you got to figure out how to do is attach these legs to this upright. You can do a double bar. You can do an I-beam up here. I think the Harbor Freight one has an I-beam. I'm not going to be picking up that heavy stuff, so I just went ahead and got a 2.5-inch tube and slid it down inside of there. So this is fairly loose in there. It can wobble around a little bit, but the tube goes down, I think, about 8 inches in there. So there's no way it's going to do anything. I put these little gussets in there just to hold it. This piece of angle iron up here. And then the tube is just kind of sitting on there, and I got two bolts through there. So I think the best idea is to use two bolts here, because then this kind of racking of the legs will now be shearing on both of these grade 8 bolts, which is, I think a grade 8's like 70,000 pounds. So you got like 140,000 pounds of shear right there. So I think that's enough to hold these legs because they are just a little bit wobbly. Another way to fix that, I'm not sure I might do it, is, would be to come off of here with some sort of bracket and actually go up to this beam. And then, because right now the slop is inside of this tube, where this tube goes down into the other tube because they're not the same size, or they're not a tight fit. So they wobble just a little bit. I don't know if I can show you. You can see just a little bit of wobble in there. It's not too bad, but it's not going to go anywhere for what I'm picking up. But if you wanted to get rid of that, like I say, I think maybe you could come off these bolts here and come up and just have something there. Now that would have to be adjustable, because as you raised and lower this, it would affect that. Now you could come off of this right here up to here, which would mean you could go off these pins, which would probably be the better idea. Something here on the pins, then up to here. Then as you raised it, it would you could follow the holes up, and it would be better. So however you want to do that, it's completely up to you. But like I say, for me, I'm probably picking up maybe 1,000 pounds at the most. So here's the little Harbor Freight winch I got. Is $59. It's this Badlands one. It's actually not bad. It's Harbor Freight, so what are you going to do? It mounts with just two bolts, which I thought was bizarre. There's a bolt there and one directly underneath it. Those are in shear also because of the direction it's pulling in, so I guess it's okay. I just used their bolts. I think they're some sort of higher strength bolt, but I wasn't sure. I just put them on there. And then because because I wanted to mount it to here, these bolt heads are sticking through, so I couldn't bolt it flat. So I had to put a plate on here and stand it off a little bit just to keep these bolts away. So it's on there, but it's not going anywhere. So then the other idea, is you could just put a chain fall up here, and or a ratchet strap or whatever you want right on the beam. You wouldn't need all this, but with a chain fall and such, you got the extra chain. I mean, they got those bags that goes in and stuff, but I just didn't want anything up here that could fall and hit on the truck once I get it painted or body work done on it. So I just kind of went with this winch thing. I just picked up these winches on eBay. They're just a sheave, they call it, I think, or whatever, and it's just got a brass bushing in it. It's 5/8 of an inch. So I had a little DOM tubing that I put in there so I could get a 1/2 inch bolt in there. This bolt's way too long. I got to get a smaller one, but it's a grade 8. Just run through there. There's no bearing on this. It's just brass against the insert and just a little grease on it. So this winch goes up here, goes through this one. This is mounted solid. I haven't painted this yet. I got to take this off and re-weld it, or not re-weld it, but finish welding it. I just tacked it in for right now just to make sure it was going to be in the right spot. So this cable just goes up through this one, and I actually bracketed it on both sides here just to give it some strength. And then it goes across, and then it goes through this. Now this is another issue here. I kind of thought about this for a while. How to attach this, because if you want to move this, you know, you're off center. I mean, you can obviously roll your wheels, but let's say you pick something up and now you're putting it down and you find out you need to move it over, you know, 1/2 inch or whatever. Well, then you got to mess around with the whole thing, where it'd be nice to be able to just maybe move this or do whatever. So I'm not really sure. So what I did is I just put 2 plates, and then I put a plate on top, welded it on, and I put a plate right underneath it. So as you tighten it, it kind of twists and binds it, and it's holding. I'm just picking up something really light, but it's holding. But I did drill a bolt hole through it, so if I want, I could just drill a hole here, and so I could drill a bunch of holes at different spacing, and then if I wanted to, you know, I can move it over 1 inch or 1/2 inch or whatever. I thought about drilling a hole on the top. That would also work, but for right now I just have it loose. And then I thought, well, what I would do is just put a clamp here if I needed to, and then it would keep it from sliding, but I could move it around if I wanted to. Now I think the better thing to do, because this is a little bit wobbly, because when I welded this around the pipe, I basically put a piece of metal here to space it off just so slightly so it wasn't super tight. And so I think the better thing to do would be to let this cock just a little bit. You could turn it, and then you could put little pieces, strips of metal down here. Every couple inches you could tack them on there, and then this would just slide over that metal. But then when you loaded it, it would turn, it would cock like this, and this edge of this plate would catch that and would hold it from retracting under the load of the cable. So that would be the best thing. You could probably just start out here a ways and put one every couple inches or every inch, whatever you wanted. And then this thing, it would kind of essentially be like teeth, and this would catch and would hold it. So I might do that. I don't know. Right now, I just picked up this little piece of iron off my Harbor Freight press, and it didn't move 1 inch. So I think it might be okay, but I'll probably, for now, just put a C-clamp up here just to hold it. I don't think there's a lot of load on it because it's kind of cocked and binding by itself. But that's it. I put a battery box down here. This is my battery for my winch. So I just welded a beam off there and built a little battery tray so that can sit there. I did that so if you're moving it around, if you pick something up and you're moving it, then you have to chase after it with the battery. You know, you want the battery to kind of go along with you. So this whole Harbor Freight thing comes with this cable. It comes with a little relay, it comes with all this lead, and then it has some sort of controller box here, and it goes into there. It's real simple to hook up. It's just 2 wires here, 2 wires on the battery. So that was really easy. I just stuck it on there, and piece of cake. So that's pretty much it. I think it works pretty good. I'll show you here. It comes with a little remote right here, which is really nice. You just hold this button down for 3 seconds, and then the LED comes on. And now you just have this retract and extend. And there's the retract. You can kind of see it's going up. And you know what I had read on the internet, people were saying when you use a winch, some of the winches have like a coast. So if you're just trying to set something down or pick it up just ever so slightly, sometimes when you hit the button, it spools up and it goes through a whole cycle. So you might get 3 inches on the winch before it shuts down, even though you've just given it a blip. So I was a little bit concerned about that. I thought, well, it might not matter for what I'm using it for, but this actually seems to be fairly good. When I just touch it, I just get I'll show you here. If I can hold it still. I can get, I don't know, maybe a 1/4 inch or something. So there it is close to the ground. seems like about a quarter. See, there it is, just hovering above the ground. I can just set it down. So that works pretty good. Pretty happy with it. I think it's going to work great for what I need. The only other thing I think might be an issue is lifting up these arms. You know, they are extremely heavy. And so I can get my floor jack underneath here and I could pick it up. I think if I pick up one side or the other side will lean a little bit and I can go up my my distance. The other thing I think that might be better would be to just drill a hole here, because this tube now can come out of this tube. It's loading down, obviously, and I put a little piece of metal there so it stops it. Otherwise, it would hit up on these gussets, and I didn't want that. So it's got a stop block on both sides here to hold this tube from sliding all the way down into the other one. So a guy could pin this right here, and once you pinned it, then this tube and this tube that's inside of it would not be able to move in relation with each other. So then you could pick it up from the center here with a ratchet strap, you know, like maybe on your ceiling or something, and you could extend both legs at the same time until you get them in the right spot and then pin them. And then even more interesting, which I never would have to try, would be to try to use the winch to do it. If you could take the winch somehow and just maybe wrap it around here and go up. I don't know if when you hit it, if it would actually shorten that cable and pull this beam up with the winch until you got it to where you need it, and you could repin it. I'm not really sure. But for right now, I got it at lowest setting. I'm going to take it out and pick up my truck, and I'll probably try and lift it up out there then and see how that behaves outside of the garage. And hopefully it's not a big deal. I just got these little hitch pins at Menards, and they just got a handle on them, and you can just pull them out. So I'll just disconnect one side. And the nice thing about it is this tube is going down all the way through the middle, so it's not going to really go anywhere. And it's trapped up here by these tubes as they get together here, so it can't really go this way up here. Now it can move around down here, which I don't know if that's going to be a big issue or not. So I might have to make a tweak on that as far as raising and lowering it, but when I get there, I'll figure it out. But that's it. Hopefully it helps somebody out. And oh, I guess one other thing, I bought these real heavy duty wheels. I think I got these at Menards as well. I think they hold, God, I want to say maybe 600 or 800 pounds, 650. They're really wide, polyurethane. So, you know, I don't know to what success you're going to have rolling it around with something on it for a long distance, but for sure getting it into position and things like that, it probably should be fairly good. I'll have to wait and see how well they roll. But that's it. Thanks a lot, guys. Hope it helps somebody out.